everybody. Welcome to Dulcimerica. My name is Futch. Thank you very much for joining me. Today we are going to be looking at an all skills episode talking about being in the jam and also using the looper pedal to prepare yourself for some of the stuff that you can actually do when playing in a room full of people and give you a head start on some of the ideas you can use. The song we're going to work on today is called Mes Parents. It means my parents in Cajun French, and it is a great old tune that I learned from Bruce Ford from everythingdulcimer.com back in the day. I've actually played it with some folks, including Gina Forsythe, a Cajun fiddler, and it sounds a lot like the tune Don't Bury Me, and I was very happy to play along with her on her album Copper Rooster and play this tune where we did a mashup basically of Don't Bury Me and Mes Parents. I'll make the music available to you. You can go down below here to patreon.com, pick up the tablature, so if you're not familiar with the tune, I can guarantee you'll probably run into it at some point in time. It's one of those tunes that people do tend to like. And I'll break it down for you in bits and pieces, and then we'll have fun with all the different things that we can do in the jam. Of course, the jam is where you're sitting in a group of people and a lot of different instruments, not just mountain dulcimers, but hammer dulcimers, guitars, banjos, mandolins, you name it. Everybody's just kind of playing the tunes that we know and love. There are turtle jams and slow jams, and then there are gargantuan jams, and then there are really intimate small jams that are lickety-split. Kind of have to hunt those down. So we'll talk about all that in the next few episodes. But first of all, so let's start off with Mes Parents. It goes like this. That's one time through Mes Parents. It's a cool song, and there's definitely a dance that goes along with it. It has these very pronounced half notes. One, boom, do-do-do-do, bum, bum, do-do-do-do, bum, bum. You can almost see and feel the dancing that's going on there. And having been to Cajun Dance Night at Tippy Tina's on a Wednesday, you can see some of the bouncing and the bowing and everything else that's going on. Really a cool tune. Now, when we want to break this out in the jam, we can simply play that melody with a little bit of harmony chords thrown in there, and our rhythm, of course. But let's say we want to do something a little bit different. Add some rhythmic harmony by the way of chops, you know. So the A part hangs out in D for a very long time, so we're going to use a closed chord here. I'm going 4 quarter notes for the strum. Fingers are on the strings but not pressing down, so I get that thwack on 1 and 3. I push down on 2 and 4 to bring those chop chords in. So we got doo dee 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 dum 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 bum 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 yum bum 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 A, and I'm using an A7 3 2 1 bum 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 yum bum 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 bum. Here it goes yum bum dee dee dum bum bum bum. So it's going to move very quickly back and forth between G and D. So what I do here is I'm going to bar 3. That's good enough. And then go to my 4-3-2. Then down to A. Notice I'm only hitting 1 time for each chord. Why? Because the chord is changing twice in the measure. G for 2 beats and then D for 2 beats. And since we're only playing the after beats, we're only going to play the chord once. Dum bum ba da dum bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum. And then the B part is basically the same chord movement with a little bit of a different melody. In fact, if you play them over the top of each other, you end up with a counter melody that's built into the tune. And we'll demonstrate that once we get that loop going. Next is the bass part. Remember, with your bass parts, think about the chords that we're playing and then think about the bottom and top of the chord. Those are your bass notes, typically speaking. For D, we're playing D and A. Bum ba dum bum bum ba ya da bum 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 ba dum bum bum. Then it goes to the A chord. Bum. And so A is A, C sharp, E. A and E would be your notes, going from A down to E. And then you can go back to your D and A. They dovetail really nicely. Ba-dum bum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum bum, ya-dum bum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum. For G, it's going to be G and D are going to be your pivot notes. Bum bum ba da dum bum 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 ba da dum bum 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 ba da dum bum 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 ba da dum bum bum bum. That's basically what a bass does. It anchors the root of the chord, and when it moves and travels someplace else, it's typically going to the perfect fifth. You can also do 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 as a pickup note to go someplace else. All right. Let's go ahead and put those three things together and let's loop them all together as if we were in the jam. So I'm going to lay things out with that melody first and foremost, and then we'll go ahead and add our chops and then finally our bass. Find a nice little tempo here. There we go. Notice how the hi-hat sounds a little bit different on the downbeat. That's to let you know that the measure is starting over. Of course, we're going to set the length of this tune with the looper pedal. And I won't do just melody. I'm going to go ahead and play the tune with all the chords and stuff in it, and then we'll add everything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little fast. No, it's good. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. parts now. Let's have a little fun. Stop it for a second. So I'm doing some counter melody, I'm bouncing back and forth, and sometimes I'm making it very fancy and very quick, and sometimes I'm just sort of like, and seeing what works. I'm like kind of, it's like a call and response. The melody does something, I do something, and once the melody chills out, I chill out when the melody kind of moves, or I try and like work with the melody, dance alongside it, swim along with it like a dolphin, chasing after the waves of a boat, you know? So many different things that you can do with that and have fun bouncing things off. So I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to record some of the things I'm doing, and then let's see if we can just kind of amp it up a little bit more. So when I click the pedal, all of our recorded parts, melody and chords, chops, and bass will all pop in, and now I'll start adding some other stuff to it. Here we go. all day. Again, when you start doing this looping thing and getting into stuff like that, you might as well have your significant other to slide your dinner under your door, because you're going to be in the studio or your rehearsal space for a long time, just having a lot of fun. It's very, very addicting, and you see how many different possibilities there are in terms of stacking individual notes to create these harmonies and these colors and bringing everything open. Now imagine that you get a bunch of people in the jam who are all feeling very, very bold, and instead of just kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, they're taking things that have been proven to sound really, really good. Maybe it's a dulcimer group and they've all got loop pedals and they've all practiced some stuff, and they get back together again and they say, okay, now you take this part, now you take this part. That's what happens sometimes at the jam. You get this really musical stuff happening because of these dulcimer groups who have actually taken a piece of music like Me Permont and have actually made an arrangement out of it with different parts doing different things. That's where you take something that's a basic tune and you transform it into a full-blown arrangement. And that's part of the fun, because really you can do this stuff at the drop of a hat anytime with any piece of music. The things to consider once again are the melody, of course, the most important part of the tune, because the melody is what we're going to harmonize with and also what we're going to dance with. The chops are a rhythmic way of providing chords that provides this kind of a groove and helps the groove, assists the groove as we move along. The bass part is also rhythmic, but it also performs a very important function, and that is supporting the chords with root notes, but also playing other notes to sort of keep things bouncing around in that pendulum that we are so familiar with. And then of course we have our other harmonies, not just the harmonies that are in the chords, the basic chords, but harmonies that extend those chords beyond 3 notes. And then we've got counter melody threading its way in through the piece. And in fact, I want to show you something here about this tune. So we got a lot of harmony. Hopefully this will work out pretty good. I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to start off by playing the B part melody over the top of the A part, so you can see how this actually does work as a counter melody. Although I wouldn't do it in the jam, because actually it might confuse people as to whether they're in the A part or the B part, but it might be something fun to do with your dulcimer groups at home. Here I go, playing the B part melody over the A part, and so yes, you can see that those two parts do work right over the top of each other. And that's more stuff that you can discover when you're playing in the jam or when you are simply playing at home with your looper pedal. Well, I hope you've had a lot of fun this week in the jam, getting in those big circles, making music, learning new tunes, or doing really fun stuff with tunes that you already know. It is the perfect location for you to experiment and have some learning moments that you can take away from the jam. So it's not just fun, it's also going to be helpful to your growth as a mountain dulcimer player or a player of any instrument for that matter. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this month. We're going to use our cue now, and we're going to head over into the next month looking at how to use the looper pedal in terms of studying, jamming, and songwriting. Thanks everybody. We'll see you soon.